Rising until I buy the movie Heroes Rising and Two Heroes. So, let's get started. So, I just want to do something fun. Aerie goes to school. So, while I'm in the dorms, Aerie's getting ready to go to school. I'm pretty sure she's 5, so she'd be in like 1st grade. I don't remember. So she'd go to, no, Aerie's like 6, or like 7, because she can't talk like that, 5. So I'm going to say she's 6. Aerie is going into 1st grade. And they also have class. Well, class 1A is in class. Aerie runs in the classroom crying. She runs up to Christian since he's the nicest one to her. He is like the better. She runs up to Christian Deku while they're chatting, and Christian says, "What's up, Aerie? Why are you crying?" He goes, everyone call me a villain and call my quirk a curse because my eyes are red, and everyone says that I killed my dad." He says, "Is that true? Did I kill my dad?" He says, Christian smiles and says, "You didn't, we did. And that's because he hurt you. He made you mean. He was a mean person, did all kinds of crimes, killed people. He took away Mr. Mirio's power." He says, "Also, Aizawa's got red eyes. Bakugo has red eyes. Kirishima has red eyes. When I go insane, my eyes are red, but actually no. Lots of people's eyes are red. I mean, look at Mina's eyes. She's got like alien eyes, but that's not that bad. No one treats her bad. See, you're fine. Watch this." He says, "But they also call my quirk a curse." He says, "What did you just say?" He says, "Even the principal and teacher called it that." He says, "Deku, we have some business to attend." Deku's eyes turn red, and so does Christian's. And also Koda's there, behind her, in front of her, and he's the one who told her all that, said all that. Christian says, "Come on, Deku, Aerie, and Kota, let's go." Then, when they arrive to the principal's office, Christian kicks down the door and says, And she says, "Who are you?" He says, "My name is Christian Kaminari." She says, "Your eyes?" He says, "Yes, mine's are red. So are Deku's." "So, you say," and picture up by the shirt saying, "So, you say that Aerie's quirk is a curse? Huh? You say that she killed her father? Huh? You also say that her red eyes make her a villain?" He says, No, I didn't do that. She's a liar. That faker." Christian throws her against the wall saying, "I know when you're telling a lie." And then he activates his lightning and says, "And I know you're lying." And she had a witness to back her up, Kota. She says in her head, "That brat Kota?" He says, "Now listen here, teacher. I want an apology from everyone who said that, or everyone in the school's dead. Got that?" He says, "You can't threaten a school, you can't do anything." He activates lightning armor and punches her in the face, saying, "I'm sorry. Did I stutter?" She says, "No, sir. Okay, I'll go tell that to every student who said it." "Alright, Aerie, take me to the people who said that to you." She goes, "Okay," and the first person who said it, he says, "Hey you, did you call her quirk a curse?" He says, "Yeah, I did, 'cause it is. And she also killed her father." He says, "Let me show you something," and shows a hologram, and he shows the TV footage. He goes, "You guys are monsters." He says, "You're gonna apologize to Aerie right now, or I will chop you limb from limb, and then feed your body parts to dogs. Then those dogs turn into compost, and then you will be dead." So he goes, "I'm sorry." And then he says, and then he goes, "Oh, and I'll be right back." Then he says, "Hold on, Aerie? Why do you have bruises on you?" She says, "They called me a villain and beat me up." He says, "Give me a second." whoever decided to put their hands on my kid, please come out. Christian with a megaphone outside the school goes,
whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come outside so I can peacefully break your leg.
and he goes, "No, well, you might wanna like exit out." And they're like, and then they all walk. He says, "You have one more second. Whoever decided to put their hands on my kids, please come out so I can peacefully break your legs." They all walk out, and then he says, "You're gonna apologize." Then cracks his knuckles saying, "Or things are gonna be ugly." They all apologize, saying, "I'm sorry, Harry." He says, "Now no one will bully you again." He says, "How about some ice cream, Harry?" He goes, "Yeah." They go to get ice cream and then they come back. He says, "Did you guys even solve the problem?" Christian says, "Yep." He says, "What'd you do?" Christian says, "Basically, I told them, I told the principal that if she ever, or anyone ever in the school calls Harry a curse, I would cut their legs off, feed them to dogs, and then that'd be the end. I also told her that everyone there has to write an apology letter, and when she refused, she got thrown into a wall." He goes, "Gee." He says, "Well, alright, Harry, enjoy your ice cream, and go sit down in the teacher's lounge." He goes, "Okay." Go play with Miss Midnight. She's off right now. But then when Harry comes in, she sees Midnight and Mount Lady arguing. She goes, Harry starts to get sad and she says, "Please don't fight." They don't know who it is, so they say, "Shut up." When Christian hears this, he goes and then teleports in and says, "Who just said that to her?" Then with an angry look activates lightning armor and goes, They go, "We're sorry, Harry. We didn't know it was you. We're just having a big argument and we were mad." He says, "Well, Harry just wants to hang out here because, well, we have class and I kind of got Harry almost kicked out of her school because everyone called her quirky curse and threatened the principal." He says, "Wow." Says Harry doesn't really like to do much. She's just gonna enjoy her ice cream. Then Christian walks back. Christian says, "What a lovely day." Then Aizawa says it's time for sparring, time for training. Then they go outside and Christian says, "Well, Baku bro, you ready to go?" He says, "Yeah." Christian disappears and then they clash fists. Christian goes, and when Bakugo and Christian clash, they vanish. Then Midoriya, Aizawa, and Ojako vanish as well, along with Eri. Then they fall from the sky. Christian says, "Electro Web!" They choose it and then they bounce, going boom. Aizawa says, "Thanks, Christian." He says, "No problem." "Now, where are we?" He sees a blonde-haired kid with some kind of headband on, going, "Hi, who are you?" He says, Christian says, hold up, wait a minute, where are we? He says, oh, this is a Hidden Leaf Village. He says, what year is it? He says, I don't know. Christian thinks and says, what's your name? He says, well, I was gonna ask you, but my name is Naruto Uzumaki. He says, what's your quirk? He says, what's a quirk? He says, you don't know what a quirk is? He goes, no. Then Kakashi walks over and says, Naruto, who are you talking to? Then he confronts him, are you Rogue Ninja? He says, Christian says, we're not even ninja, how are we Rogue Ninja? He says, do you have a quirk? He says, are you quirkless? He says, I guess we're quirkless. Baku says, ha ha, you're quirkless. He says, we have these powers called, he says, what even is a quirk? Christian says, watch. He says, Electro Web, and shoots it. He says, Eri, have fun. Eri bounces going, wee, wee. He says, that's basically my quirk. I can create lightning. He says, Kakashi goes, cool. He says, Bakugo's quirk is basically, he says, wait a minute, can you pull up your headband? He says, sure. He says, then he pulls up and sees Sean going, oh! Aizawa? He's got red eyes, like you. He has a red eye, like you, but you have two. He says, well, you have the Sharingan? He says, no, this is just my quirk. It's called Erasure. He says, do you erase your powers for good or temporarily? He says, temporarily until I blink. Christian says, body yada 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 yada, in the Comic Hero band. Then Sakura comes over and says, oh, she is so adorable, and runs to everything. Hi, I'm Sakura Haruno. She says, hi, I'm Eri. He says, why do you have a horn? He says, I was experimented on, and also that's my quirk. She goes, oh my god, I feel so sorry for you. He goes, it's okay. Want to be my friend? Sakura says, sure. Then Sasuke walks over. He says, oi, Naruto, Kakashi, who are you talking to? Christian says, hi, I'm Christian Kaminari. He goes, whatever. He says, Kakashi says, we have these powers called ninjutsus. He said, Christian says, can we see one? Sasuke says, sure, I'll do it. He goes, Chidori. Christian says, omae wa mou shinderu. Sasuke goes, nani? Christian says, Thunder Punch! And creates a lightning fist and goes, ah! He goes, you have lightning too? He goes, who has better lightning? Christian says, I do, I can use it way better than you. He says, how many lightning techniques do you have? He says, 1. He says, I bet you only have 1. Christian says, wrong, I have 5. I have as many as I want. As many as I can develop. Watch this. Electro Ball! Thunder Punch! Electro Web! Boop! Thunderbolt! Thunder Armor! This is Shippuden. Once Naruto and Sasuke... This is an AU where Naruto and Sasuke... Sasuke never left the village, and this is mid-Shippuden. This is where after the final battle, but Sasuke didn't lose his arm. So Naruto has 6 past Sage Mode and all that crap. And then he do Transform saying, hey! No wait, then Sasuke would know like 4 lightning techniques. Christian says, let's show off our strongest technique, alright? He says, yeah! They both backflip, and they go to like a forest. They both create Kideans. Christian goes, ah! They both say, Kideen! And the dragons go in battle going, da, 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 da. Christian and the dragon would eventually win because it's yellow lightning. Biting down and defeating him. But then the 2 dragons clash and he says, how do you know Kideen? He says, how do you know Kideen? They go, we have so much in common. He says, we both have brothers, I guess. He says, mine's dead. Christian says, mine's an idiot. He says, they both say, what's the difference? Ah! He says, wait a minute, that was kind of messed up. Sasuke goes, yeah, it was. Because that means I called your alive brother dead. Yeah, pretty much. Then Christian appears back, saying, hi guys. Christian says, also me and Deku have red eyes. He says, that's only when Eri gets hurt. We get angry. That's our villainous side. He says, so what are we doing? He says, well, you guys can come with a mission on us. Christian goes, okay. And then the Baku squad already left. AKA Baku, it's just Bakugo. The Deku squad, which is Deku and Todoroki, just left. Oh yeah, and also Uraraka. And it's just Christian, Eri, and Aizawa. Then they're walking down a path, and then they get across it. They find a river. Christian says, God dang it, how are we gonna get past this? Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, and Kakashi all walk across it. Christian goes, what the? He says, how do you guys do that? He says, Sakura says, focus your chakra in your feet. Bakugo yells, we don't have chakra, we have quirks. Sasuke says, stop complaining and use them. Bakugo explodes over. Deku uses one for full cowling. Uraraka uses zero gravity. Todoroki creates an ice path. And Christian just literally creates a trampoline, creates an electrode that him and Eri walk over, while Eraser just goes on the ice path. Then Eri starts to get tired because, well, on the way he says, Eri, are you alright? She goes, I can barely walk. He goes, problem fixed. He shoots electro webs all four so then she can bounce on them like a trampoline. She goes, woo! But then she falls off the mountain and goes, shoot! Then jumps off of it, catching her. He says, activating his lightning armor, then blasting up in the sky, going, Choom! He says, gotcha! Then he blitzes over there, going, Choom! He says, yay! He goes, that's kind of like 6 past Sage Mode, isn't it, Sasuke? He says, yeah, Naruto. Christian says, how old are you guys? They say 17. Christian says, damn! We're all like 15. He says, well, I'm actually 16. Then Christian says, does anyone have like some, like, Christian says, oh wait, I do. He pulls out a ripped up scarf and ties Eri around on his back like Deku did, and then they walk. He goes, he's up front. Then Sakura walks up to him saying, hey, is she like related to you? He goes, no, she's not. He says, then why do you care for her so much? He says, wow. Well, that's just disrespectful. But because she was tortured her entire life. She never had a chance of being loved her entire life until now. Now she has lots of friends. And I never want to see her go through that again, so I'm trying to make her life happy. He says, but that's kind of hard with her quirk. And her eyes. Sakura says, what's wrong with her eyes? He says, they're red, and apparently everyone thinks that when you have red eyes, you're a villain. He says, oh yeah, what is a villain? He says, I thought those were just fairy tale myths. He says, no, they're real in our world. I guess we're not from here. He says, where are you guys from? Christian says, we're from Japan. I don't really know what state. He says, do you go somewhere? Christian says, yeah, we all go to UA High. He says, do you have a dream? He says, I... #1 hero. He says, Naruto's kinda gotta go like that. He wants to be the Hokage. He says, well, hopefully one day we'll meet again, and I'll be the #1 hero, and he'll be the Hokage. Then Naruto says, did I hear someone has a close dream to me? He goes, nope. He goes, guys, let's just go. Then they encounter an enemy. Then they go into like some kind of dark void, and Shoto activates fire, and Christian activates lightning. Then Kakashi pulls out a flashlight, but it's not working because the power is... He says, dang it, no power in it? Christian says, I got you. Then charges it. He says, okay. Then they use their flashlight to see around, but then they see a dark monster. Christian says, Naruto activates Seijo, and Sasuke activates his Rinnegan. And Naruto says, you see it, right, Sasuke? He goes, yep. They both disappear and defeat them. Christian says, wow, that's just totally broken. Most broken ability. But whatever. Then they encounter some final boss dude. A giant boss dude. Oh, actually, no. Oh yeah, Hinata is accompanying them, because I need that for plot convenience. So, when they go, they encounter some big dude that Hinata goes to strike him, but then gets launched back. Naruto, enraged, activates the QB form, six-tailed form. Even though he has 6 passage mode, Kurama even tells him, but he says that's not going to be enough. Then he goes and attacks him and tries to kill him. Then he go after Bakugo, but Christian would say, that's enough! Activates lightning armor and punches him right in the stomach, going, he goes, knocking him out. He goes, Christian goes, then Kakashi would put the ceiling and says, you're pretty strong if you can deal with him. He says, I have to deal with hyperactive Bakugo every day. It gets used to it. Bakugo says, what did you call me? He says, hyperactive. Then Christian pulls out his phone and says, dang it, my phone's on 1%. Everyone pulls out their phones, even Naruto does, and they'll say, except for Christian actually, aw, our phones are dead. He says, put your phones in the middle. He says, okay. Then he adds electricity to them, and they're all at 100%. He says, there you go. They say, whoa, he has the ability to charge phones. He says, of course I do. I have lightning powers. He says, wait a minute. Uh-oh. Then all of their phones explode. He goes, forgot, I can't do that. Denki can. I have lightning. He has electricity. Christian goes, shoot. Bakugo yells, you ruined our phones. He says, no, I didn't. That was a fake explosion. See, they're right there. I actually did charge him. I can do it. He says, whatever. And after that, then they encounter a final boss dude. Naruto activates 6 passage mode, Sasuke activates his Sharingan and Rinnegan. Christian says, oh, we having fun? Deku activates 1 for all, full cowling, 100%. And Eri goes and uses a rerun quirk, so it stays. Bakugo activates its full power explosions. Aizawa would get his scarf ready, his power ready. Ashi would open his Sharingan. Lucky Kakashi wouldn't have a Sharingan. Kakashi would use Shidan. Sakura would get her chakra fist ready. Christian would say, lightning armor, thunder armor. Then, also, Ojako activates her zero gravity, and then they all get ready. Then they'll, I really need Yusei running this. They go, and they're fighting really good against him. He doesn't even stand a chance. But then he goes and shoots a bird at Christian. He goes, the bird gets onto him, he says, no, no, no. But then it like kicks open his mouth and then goes in. He goes, but then his eyes turn into a Mangekyo Sharingan. He goes, and his lightning chakra thing turns, his lightning armor, his thunder armor turns red. He goes, then Sasuke goes to rush at him to knock him out. Christian dodges his attack easily and spins him, knocks him out with a punch, going boom. He goes, ah! His other side, his normal side's trying to beat it, but he's not strong enough. Then he says, you'll not hurt me. Then Naruto says there's only one way to do this. Naruto and Sasuke disappear. Even Naruto wakes up Sasuke, and then they both disappear, saying that if they fist bump him, his other side will get power and then be able to defeat him. They both fist bump him. He goes, ah! Turning into a rainbow lightning state, then going one-shotting him, going, but then he just instantly regenerates, and they have to have a fight. Then he's laying down while he's fighting himself inside. He goes, and they're having a big clash. Christian goes, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Christian goes, ah! Then he says, Thunderbolt! And it's a rainbow thunderbolt. He goes, ah! And it's only for a burst instant. Then he goes back into his normal state, and then he kicks him in the face, going, boom! Then he defeats him, and he says, Pika! And shoots a thunder beam, going, yeah! And kills it. He goes, then they see that the color really changes, and then Sasuke opens his eye to see, then he sees. He says, yes! He no longer has the Sharingan. Christian wakes up and goes, and the final boss is still there, though. Then Christian disappears, going, ish. But then they don't see him. He doesn't get up, actually. Let's see, why isn't he up yet? But then when they look at him, he disappears. Then he goes, Ishima dong la dong diddy day. And with one punch to the stomach, he goes, ah. Then he goes, Meta. Then he says, Masenko, and blasts him with an energy blast. After the defeat of final boss, a portal comes and takes him home. Christian says, bye Naruto, I hope we can meet when I become the #1 hero and you become Hokage. Then they fall in the portal, and Christian gets a portion of Naruto's power, and Naruto gets a portion of his power. I'm kidding, that's a joke. Alright, next day. Christian's sitting in his room. And then he wants to wake up Kaminari because he won't wake up, so he's gonna electrocute him. Christian goes, wake up! But then an explosion comes from his hand and hits Denki. He says, Bakugo, why'd you do that? He says, I'm not Bakugo, I'm Christian. He says, Bakugo, you don't have to complain to get him in trouble. He says, no, Denki, it's literally me. He says, you don't sound like Bakugo. Then he looks and says, Christian, how? Christian says, I have explosion! Screw it.